everyone, thank you for joining us today. Today I'm going to be answering the question, what about the rabbits? We are leaving our 1 acre homestead here in Southwest Washington, and we are going to be starting from the ground up on 20 acres in North Idaho this spring. So what does that mean for our rabbits?
Make the most of every day. Make the most of what God gave with good, simple living.
When we started this whole homestead adventure, the rabbits were actually the first thing that we got as far as providing meat for ourselves. We were gardening before that. But just because we're moving and we're going to be building does not mean that we're not going to be homesteading. We're going to be relying heavily on our skills for gardening, composting, and raising our own meat to provide for our family. So we are taking some of our rabbits with us, but not all of them. This is Guinness. I love him. He's a little bit more of a pet at this point. We've had him about 4 years, which normally I would retire our rabbits around that age. He's kind of hit and miss when it comes to breeding, but we're just really attached to him. So he will be coming with us because he's Guinness. But we're also going to be bringing 2 younger bucks. I like to always have 1 buck, of course, but having 2 bucks is good because if something happens to your breeding buck, it's always a good idea to have a backup. So I don't recommend having 3 bucks, but because he's just kind of our pet, he'll be coming with us. And then we're going to be bringing 2 younger bucks with us. For anyone who watches our channel, Cash doesn't need any introduction. Everyone's pretty familiar with him. He's kind of our celebrity buck. But even though he's only shooting from the left because of a botfly injury, he's been an awesome breeder. He's only 8 months old, so he's got a lot of breeding left in him. He's only fathered 2 litters, and so we're gonna get him going in Idaho as well. I just love his coloring, and so we definitely want to make sure that we're bringing a nice mature buck along with us. So our 8-month-old buck, he'll be a little bit older at the time. He'll be almost a year. He's going to be our main breeding buck. This is Willie. He's my new buck. He is a broken lilac. I think he's absolutely beautiful. So Cash fathered this one, but he will be unrelated to all of our does because his mother actually is being retired. They're a little squirmy at this age. He's not quite used to me lugging him around yet, but he is only, he is 10 weeks old. So he's got about 3 or 4 months before he'll become a good breeder for us, but that will be perfect timing to get him started over in Idaho. So we will have Cash and we will have Willie. So that brings us to our does. I get asked quite a bit from folks, when do I retire my breeders? With bucks, they can go 4 or 5 years actually. But with does, I don't like to breed them longer than about 2 or 2.5 years. The productivity goes down, their willingness to breed, and they also, you can take a really good doe, or at least in my opinion, and they start to become kind of shoddy mothers where they just won't feed a litter, they won't pull hair, they just really don't want to breed anymore. So after about 2, I start looking to retire them off to pet homes. We don't eat breeders, so that's just kind of our rule with our kids. It's kind of an agreement we have with them. So we have 2 does that are 2.5 years old, and they're both going to be retired. This is Cindy Hopper. You guys are familiar with her. She is just having a difficult time with her coat, even though I've added calf manna and a few other things. She's just having a hard time just blowing her coat and staying healthy, and she does not want to breed anymore. So Cindy is 2.5, she'll be 3 this spring, and we will be finding her a pet home and not bringing her with us. This is Scarlett. Miss Scarlett has been a wonderful breeder for us for 3 years actually, and she is not going to be coming with us either. She's just getting up there in age for breeding, and her litters are kind of hit and miss. Sometimes she'll stomp out a whole litter, and other times she'll do a wonderful job. Actually, Willie is her and Cash's baby, so he will be unrelated to any of the new kits that we're going to be having. So it's actually time to say goodbye to Miss Cindy Hopper today. We are handing her over to a new home, and she's going with a younger buck also that these folks are buying. So they are going to actually try to do one more litter with Cindy and then probably keep from her babies. But hopefully they do. She does well for them. We'll see. Hopefully they let us know. But it was a little tricky to say goodbye to Cindy Hopper today. It was Kira's first doe, and she got to give her a kiss goodbye. But luckily, she also got to make a little bit of money off Cindy, and that always helps with saying goodbye to does and getting started on new ones. But she is pretty excited to get started with some new younger blood.
All right, what do you think, guys? Are going?
What do you think, Kira? How do you feel? Do you feel happy about the money or sad about Cindy?
Oh yeah? Tell us more, Kira.
Show me your money.
Oh.
So what does are we bringing, since it seems like we're getting rid of all the does that folks know? So this right here is Patsy. This is Kira's new doe. She wanted a Roo, which is a red-eyed white. It is not a New Zealand white. It is actually a Rex rabbit. So we wanted to bring in some fresh blood. And she is from another local breeder. She's not at all related to our bucks or any of our does. So she will be our new breeder. And then up at the top, we have Miss Dolly. These two are only sharing a cage right now because neither one of them are bred. And I'm not sure that we will have any new litters before we leave. I think we'll just start breeding again once we get out there. So Dolly and Patsy are going to hang out together in this hutch. Patsy's feet are all muddy because she was just out in the lawn tractor and it's been raining for a week. So that's it. We're really downsizing. We're just going to bring our main buck and we're going to have our backup buck who's really young and not quite ready to breed. And then we have our two young new does that we will get started once we're out there. We don't want to bring too many animals with us just for the move. It can be stressful for them and it's just a little harder for us because we need to get out there and I need to just get their, them with their basic setup all set up so we can get them breeding and get our family fed. It's raining right now, which is why I have an extra tarp over them. I just want to make sure that they stay really dry. But that two hutch tower there is our buck palace. So our bucks will be going in that. We'll be bringing that with us. And then our three hutch system over here, we will also be bringing that with us. So we can just go there. They can go right into the homes they're familiar in, and we'll be all set up and ready to go. Another reason to bring our rabbits with us is going to be for their compost. Right away we want to start planting, and purchasing a lot of compost is going to get very expensive, and so we need a compost that we can stick directly into our raised beds that is not going to be hot. What makes compost hot versus cold is the nitrogen and how quickly that breaks down. So in chicken compost, that nitrogen is readily available and it will burn your plants. With rabbit compost, it breaks down slowly and the nitrogen is slowly released into your soil, which means you can take it and put it directly on your plants without it all just coming out at the same time and scorching your plants. Also, rabbit compost from domestic rabbits that are kept in a controlled environment you don't have to worry about the same bacteria like salmonella and E. coli like you have to worry about with cow and chicken compost. So we can take our rabbit compost directly from under their cages and spread it into our garden beds, which is going to be really nice for when we get out to Idaho, because from day one they're going to start pooping and producing compost. This represents about 2 months worth of compost from just 3 breeding does. So as you can see, it's a tremendous amount of compost. Rabbit compost is my favorite because when it rains or when you water it, it creates a nutrient-rich compost tea. Got sawdust in there, you've got a little bit of hair from when they're nesting, you've got straw, bits of feed, all of that is wonderful for your garden compost, for our garden compost, so it's going to benefit us tremendously to have that right off the bat. So there you go. We are taking our rabbits with us, but we are also downsizing. But like I mentioned before, we are homesteaders, and that means providing our own food at all times. So when we get out there, you guys are going to see us get right to work on our garden because we've got to get some stuff in the ground, and we're going to get right to work with our rabbits because, well, we need compost for that garden and we need meat for ourselves. So thank you guys so much for following along. There's a lot more to come, and we will see you next time.